their distinctive blue trucks, it's hard to miss the men who deliver the beer in Montgomery County. Every beer you drink in the county comes from this government-controlled warehouse. For weeks, the News 4i team followed the county's beer trucks as part of a different story. But then we discovered something even we didn't expect.
All right, 81, here we go.
We couldn't help but notice how the guys in Truck 81 take a lot of breaks to eat, sleep, even go inside a private home while their truck sits unattended on the side of the road. And then we spotted the styrofoam cups. They bought them almost every day we watched them. Why should you care about a couple of cups? Because after an early morning delivery to a county-owned liquor store, we saw the helper walk out with a long bottle in a brown bag. Later that morning, during another delivery, our cameras caught him pouring the contents of that bottle into his cup and stirring. A few minutes later, the driver does the same thing before getting back on the road. Days later, same truck, same driver, but a different helper, who throws away this white plastic bag into a dumpster at the end of their route and before they drive back to the warehouse. We pulled the bag out of the dumpster and found 2 empty wine bottles. And on yet another day, we watched them walk out of a privately owned store with 4 bottles in a small box. When we went inside, we found the same box full of white wine.
Hi there. I'm Tisha Thompson with the News 4i team. I wanted to talk to you for a second. I wanted to know why the 2 of you have been drinking while you're in a government vehicle.
He's been drinking, not me.
He's been drinking, not you? He says you've been drinking in a government vehicle and not him.
Who's been drinking?
You have?
No.
We've got video of the 2 of you pouring alcohol into styrofoam cups.
No, you
We've
didn't
got,
get me.
I'm sorry, say again?
You didn't get me.
You want to see the video? I've got video of you taking a bottle of alcohol and then pouring it into a styrofoam cup.
Me?
Yeah, we've been following. Video. You want to see it? I've got it right here. Come on over here.
But instead of watching the video, the 2 men went inside, only to come out for a few seconds to grab that styrofoam cup.
Do you got empty bottles in there?
We never saw the cup again.
Can I show you the video? Can I show you what we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Instead, they packed up
So you don't have anything to say?
and drove away.
And their job is to deliver it, not consume it.
George Griffin is the director of Montgomery County Liquor Control.
It appears from this that 2 of our 2 county employees are consuming alcohol while they're operating a county vehicle, which is obviously against all the administrative procedures in the county. I mean, that's a slam dunk.
Accusations of theft and intimidation are brewing inside a local agency. It involves beer.
County officials are already making changes because of what the News 4i team found out. Tisha Thompson joins us with results of her 6-month investigation. Tisha?
Doreen, Montgomery County is one of the few jurisdictions in our area that controls the buying and selling of alcohol, and it makes big money, generating $34 million in profit. That's more than any other county agency. But tonight, after we showed the county what we uncovered, changes are already underway in this beer business.
If you've bought a drink, sold a drink, or even downed a drink in Montgomery County, it likely had to go through this building first, the Department of Liquor Control. The agency is the wholesaler for all alcoholic beverages in the county, taking orders and making deliveries to almost 1,000 restaurants, bars, and stores. But multiple sources tell the News 4i team some county employees are skimming cases of beer and selling them on the black market.
If I say no, I was worried he might hurt me too.
This store owner says he's scared to show his face after a county delivery man tried to illegally sell him beer under the table by telling him,
I got 10 extra case beer and you want to buy some cheap price.
He says the delivery man wanted cash for those extra cases on his truck.
My answer was no, no, no.
Another store owner tells us delivery guys offered him extra cases too in exchange for cigarettes.
It's been going on for years.
The News 4i team also heard from several insiders with liquor control.
The people that are immigrants are very vulnerable. I believe there's intimidation. Maybe they should say no, but maybe they feel intimidated and they feel like they should go along with it.
Our sources tell us the theft goes down in one of two ways. Instead of delivering the complete order, they actually keep a couple of boxes on the truck and tell the store owner they were short. But these boxes, they're going to get delivered to another store further down the road for half price in cash. Or this time, the store owner is in on it, paying the delivery crew cash for some of the cases. In either scenario, the delivery crew is filling out one of these county credit forms, claiming the cases were short on truck. This could be a way that they could be hiding theft.
Well, that's always the fear when you say that they say it wasn't on the truck, and it was.
George Griffin is the director of liquor control. He says incomplete deliveries or shorts are an unavoidable part of the business, and regular counts or audits should flag any missing inventory.
We should be able to account for virtually every case that's in the system one way or another.
But our insiders tell us the county delivers so many cases and makes so much money, it's easy to hide the thefts. Because even though the county says it knows how much money it credited back to stores, no one is keeping track of why, meaning no one is checking those individual pieces of paper to see which delivery crews or which stores had the most shorts. Except the News 4i team. We spent nearly 2 weeks going page by page through 6 months worth of credit forms. We found 2/3 of businesses were shorted, some more than once a week. Most of those stores get their beer from the same 3 delivery crews, who we found had as many as 3 times the number of shorts compared to other trucks.
There's no way that continuously the same trucks should have the problems all the time without something happening to them.
It is surprising to see that some of the patterns.
And you think there may be a problem? It sounds like.
Well, sure.
But Griffin says any potential thefts are small compared to the volume of beer sales in the county, almost 5 million cases a year.
You never make so much money that you're not worried about problems.
Griffin tells the I-Team he made changes as soon as we showed him what we found. All shorts now must be immediately called into a supervisor on the route, and the county will be watching specific delivery crews for red flags.
Is this acceptable, what we have found, or is this cause for concern and you're going to have to go do something?
No, absolutely cause for concern. I mean, I'm glad you brought it out.
We're told the county is investigating at least 3 delivery men as a result of our investigation. Another driver has quit. The county says it's also going to move to a new electronic scanning system next year, which it hopes will alleviate potential theft.
There are some people among us who could be among the most dangerous drivers on our roads, repeat offenders for drinking and driving, but they never go to jail.
We all share the road with them, diplomats from other countries. Tonight, Tisha Thompson and the News 4i team take you on a 6-year journey to uncover documents never before released to the public to show you what some of those diplomatic drivers are really doing on our local highways.
It took us 6 years to find Rufin Manzanza.
Stop following me, okay? Stop following me.
He's been charged with more than a dozen of the most serious driving violations, but has never gone to jail. And the News 4i team found he's not alone. In 2008, we filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the U.S. Department of State and spent 6 years fighting to get this package. Inside, a list never before released to the public, hundreds of diplomats pulled over for the most serious driving offenses. The records show 1/3 caught drinking and driving, including a Russian first secretary charged with a DWI and trying to elude police in Chevy Chase, and a defense attaché for Yemen, his Mercedes involved in a hit and run in Great Falls. He'd been pulled over 3 years earlier for reckless driving on Gallows Road. Most on this list were pulled over for reckless driving. The son of the former Cameroon ambassador pulled over for going 93 in a 55 in Chantilly. And the first secretary of Jordan clocked going 100 miles per hour in a 55 in Fairfax. 1 year later, police charged him with DWI while driving the same Mercedes in Rockville.
These have confidential markings. That's a classification.
We brought the documents to Tom Blanton at the National Security Archive.
And all it takes is some bureaucrat to think, oh, this might be sensitive, this might be embarrassing, and they can put a classification stamp on it.
Blanton has spent his career fighting and winning access to politically sensitive documents. Iran-Contra, CIA experiments, White House emails.
I was totally surprised at the number of the violations, the sense of impunity that so many of these diplomats, repeat violators.
But our records are not complete. Some were withheld for national security reasons.
It's supposed to protect our homeland security, that exemption. Instead, it's covering up for some diplomats.
After tracking down the individual tickets, the I-team discovered the vast majority of diplomatic drivers were pulled over in Fairfax County. Many repeat violators with additional charges not even on the State Department's list. And one country had 4 times as many names than any other, Saudi Arabia. Reckless driving, DUI, possession of marijuana. Remember, this is a country where it is illegal to possess alcohol or drugs. But these same court records show most were never prosecuted because of diplomatic immunity.
The State Department refused a request for an on-camera interview, but did tell the I-team, even though diplomats don't go to court, they do tell their boss, the ambassador. And if there is a repeat offender, the State Department can kick them out of the country, which it says it's done 45 times in the last 2 years.
When we searched court records, we found a few letters from embassies apologizing, including this letter about the ambassador's son promising it will never happen again. We found that children of diplomats make up more than a third of our list, but the State Department says they only get diplomatic immunity until they're 21.
Mr. Manzanza, I'm Tisha Thompson with the News 4 I-team.
Which is how we found Rufin Manzanza, the son of Congo's defense attaché, coming out of the courthouse after pleading guilty to driving on his suspended license after he had already been pulled over twice for DUI. Do you think you could hurt or kill someone? Are you allowed to do this in the Congo?
Are you allowed to video me, interview me?
I am. In the United States, we're allowed to videotape you. So my question is are you allowed to do this in the Congo?
Please stop following me.
Sorry?
Can you stop following me?
Well, we just want to know if you think what you're doing is dangerous.
Don't have time right now. I gotta go somewhere.
The State Department tells the I-team it did not know about Manzanza's repeated violations, but is now looking into his driving record. And that, Blanton says, is why the State Department needs to release these records every year instead of trying to cover them up.
If they can drive drunk on our streets, we're all at risk. If they can get away with it, we're all at risk. These folks' bad acts should not be covered with a classification stamp. That's why it really matters.
Blanton wants Congress to pass a law requiring the State Department to post the list of diplomatic drivers caught breaking our laws on its website every year. He says you can't throw them in jail, but diplomats will stop breaking our laws if their names suddenly end up on a very public website.
We do need to point out, though, don't we, why diplomatic immunity is honored.
Yes. I mean, there is a reason why we have diplomatic immunity, and it is because we need our folks, when we go overseas, to be able to do their jobs without worrying about getting arrested for trumped-up charges. So, yeah, we need diplomatic immunity. There's a reason why all the countries respect it, but the problem is you get these guys who over and over and over again abuse it.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tisha Thompson. Thanks.
Sex assaults inside one of the largest federal agencies, and it is a story they did not want told. Yesterday, the News 4 I-team told you about postal employees robbed, even shot while delivering the mail.
But what about rape and sexual violence? Tisha Thompson and the News 4 I-team continue their investigations into postal crimes. We want to warn you, some of the details are graphic.
It was a frigid morning when we climbed this mountain near Albany, New York. We made it! To meet this woman, Diane Caruso Rustin.
We're pretty tough up here.
Diane says she had to be tough to work more than a decade inside a large postal processing plant where they sort mail 24 hours a day.
The culture of the post office is it's an old boys club.
Good at getting along with the guys working alongside her, Diane says she thought she was going to get a promotion when she walked into one of her manager's offices.
Next thing I know, he pushes me up against the wall. And he pushes down my left side of my pants, which, you know, those stretchy pants. He licked my leg. I was like, you know, and I got startled, and then took his thing out, and he told me to kiss it.
The married mother of two says she pushed her way out of the room and quickly wrote down everything that happened before filing a formal complaint through her union. That, she says, is when the retaliation began.
One of the supervisors grabbed me and told me, you better keep your mouth shut if you know it's good for you.
Diane says the retaliation grew worse as a team of investigators tried to get her to sign an incorrect statement of facts. She refused. And that, not the assault, is what finally broke her.
It's the cover-up, the intimidation that they do to you.
The News 4i team has uncovered a list of reported sexual assaults against postal employees from across the country, never before released to the public, including more than a dozen here in our area within just the last few years. Records we obtained showed the assaults range from men groping and flashing mail carriers on their routes to more serious attacks like the violent rape of a postal clerk in Silver Spring. But then we saw this. When we added it all up, we realized 1 out of every 5 sexual assaults against postal employees were committed by other postal employees.
To ask somebody to get down on their knees in the middle of the aisle, in the middle of a workroom floor, to give you oral sex, I think is sexual. If that's not sexual harassment, what is?
Noelle Whalen says her managers repeatedly ignored multiple complaints she made about being harassed, stalked, and finally sexually assaulted by one of her supervisors inside this processing plant in Connecticut.
This is a person that I had asked numerous times not to touch me, not to go near me, not to speak inappropriately to me, and he then attacks me.
Noelle kept all of her paperwork, but when we asked the post office for its records on the investigation of her attack, we received hundreds of blank and redacted pages. But the post office assured us it has a zero-tolerance policy for sexual assault.
When the federal government is an employer and then it doesn't follow its own rules, that makes this sense of betrayal or, wrongness somehow worse.
Sexual violence experts like Maya Ragu say this list could be much longer because sex assault is one of the most underreported crimes. And as we discovered, Noelle and Diane's cases were investigated by their Human Resources Department, meaning their cases were never reported to the Postal Service's internal police force and never made it to our list.
If it's unwanted, then in most places that's probably some sort of battery, let's say, which is a crime.
To get answers, we repeatedly asked to interview Postmaster General Patrick Donahoe. Until in August, we were told by a spokeswoman if we tried to approach him, we could be investigated and arrested for threatening a postal employee. Which is how we ended up at this news conference at the Postal Museum 2 weeks ago, as the Postmaster General released a new holiday stamp. We counted at least 11 different people in his team scrambling to keep us from interviewing their boss, pleading with us not to approach him.
Mr. Donahoe, I'm Tisha Thompson with the News 4i team. Did you know that we can turn the camera from you?
No.
Donahoe told us the Postal Service uses an extensive process to investigate violence against its employees.
There is nothing ever that is left uninvestigated. We prosecute people to the full extent of the law.
Some of your employees have told me that after they were sexually assaulted, they were retaliated against when they made a complaint.
The Postal Service has got a number of avenues for employees to air issues, whether it's the OIG hotline, the grievance process, EEOC. We have watched these carefully over the years. We've taken this very seriously and acted on it.
I'm sure, as the boss, it also concerns you that your employees are saying that. What do you want to tell them?
Our employees are safe. We provide a safe environment. We provide an environment where if there is a problem, we respond to it.
Even though they worked in different plants in different states, both women say their attackers were allowed to retire while they continued to be retaliated against until they both went out on medical leave.
Let's hope that your reporting will bring some changes, because it sounds like some are due. Way to go, Tisha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tisha.